Imagine, if you will, that you're standing in an art gallery, enamored by one particular painting. It's beautiful and terrifying and evokes all sorts of emotions simultaneously. It's simple and it's complex. It has many textures and colors. It's both pleasant and uncomfortable. Something draws you to it. So much so that you lose touch with your surroundings. You lose touch with those standing next to you. And then suddenly, someone taps you on the shoulder. You turn, and it's the artist of the painting, him or herself. And they say, "Would you like to pick my brain? Would you like to know where the inspiration came from? Would you like to know me, the artist?" And of course, you jump at the chance to go straight to the source of this masterpiece that has caught your attention so much. So you turn away from the painting, turn toward the artist. You go sit down, or you go for a walk, and you begin asking questions. What about that detail? What about those color choices? What about that shape? What were the materials you used? What were your feelings when you were creating it? Why did you do it? Where did it come from? And then, imagine, you get just as lost, just as enamored in this conversation, this new relationship with the source of the art, that you've now forgotten about the painting. And the artist, him or herself, recognizes this. And he or she realizes that you would love just to whisk away into the night, talking for hours and hours and hours, and actually getting off track, getting off subject, no longer talking about the art anymore. But the original spark, the original interest was the art, and the tap on the shoulder. So they start circling you back around, right back to where you began, right back to where you met, right in front of the painting. And they say to you, you cannot have the painting without me. And you cannot have me without the painting. And now, your experience of the painting and the artist both are brand new. And are in fact inseparable. You simply used to try to separate the painting and the artist. This is a brief analogy, parable, if you will, that describes something that's very common in our spiritual world, as well as in the world in general. On the spiritual path, there is a very necessary separation at the beginning of your journey from the relative world that you've been mired in and conditioned to attach to and believe is the real world, and that which is beyond the relative world, by many other names, one of which being the ultimate reality, or God. And don't let my image of an artist bring up too much religious baggage for you. That's not what I'm pointing to. Whatever you believe God is or isn't, whatever your experience of God is or isn't, let that go. I'm pointing beyond dogma to a direct experience of the source. We are born, bred, and raised enamored, attached, over-identified with the relative world of form, we might say. Things that come and go. And then something happens, whether a disillusionment, midlife crisis, what used to satisfy doesn't satisfy anymore. And the deeper place, the source place, something more profound, more meaningful, taps you on the shoulder. And that gets you going on what's called a spiritual journey. To discover and get to know where all of this came from, why it's here, what to do with it, why you feel certain ways about it. But then there's a tendency to get lost in that kind of transcendent bliss. And we see this everywhere, particularly in the New Age spiritual world. The word illusion is, in my opinion, overly used to refer to the physical world, and is often, and not just physical, but the relative world as well, is often an escape route or a dissociative mechanism, either because the relative world is too complicated for you, too painful for you, you carry a lot of trauma, and therefore spirituality and connecting with God or connecting with the source has become very inviting. And I understand that. Even intoxicating, if you will. I've been there. But the problem is, our interpretation usually of the word illusion is that it's not real. So there's a lot of spiritual folk these days that say something is an illusion and then treat it as though it's very real. Money is an illusion, but then they're the first one to ask, can I borrow $5? The body is an illusion, and then they're the first ones to panic when they get sick or have body image issues and constantly looking in the mirror. This is called dissociation, and that will eventually come back and bite you. In the mainstream world, it's happening everywhere as well. Not just spiritual. Just common people dissociating from the intensity of life, trying to pretend like it's not real, or trying to get away from it, numbing out through video games, social media, alcohol, drugs, you name it. So many other things, so many other subtle things than just those obvious ones. That also will come back to bite you. Eventually, one way or another. But on the spiritual path, it is a necessary first step. You're not going to find God in the relative world before you've found God beyond it. You're not going to find God in the relative world before you've found God beyond it. Or I might say, you're not going to find happiness in the relative world, or joy, or contentment, or fulfillment, or peace, or identity, who you are. Usually, when we're looking at the painting, to use the analogy, we're looking for happiness. We're looking for God, though we don't know it. We think it's going to come from that. Then we discover happiness in that which is beyond it. And the tendency is to forget about the painting now because of the bliss, the comfort, the release, the relaxation, the liberation in just going straight to the source. However, that is a half-baked spirituality. Eventually, you must come back around full circle, and if it's to be completed in this lifetime, then most often God or the source or life itself conspires to bring you back around, just like my parable. The artist recognized that you we're kind of doing only one or the other. Enamored by the painting and then enamored by them. Realizing you must have both. And so the circle back comes. And you finally find God and the manifest world together, containing an inseparable experience. You cannot have the relative without the ultimate. You cannot have the ultimate without the relative. You cannot have the artwork without the artist. You cannot have the artist without the artwork. Some spiritual paths try to do this, and maybe they succeed, one or the other. But in my opinion, it's half-baked. And indeed, a slap in God's face, so to speak. A slap in life's face. Source face. If you just fixate on the expression, the relative, the manifest, forget where it came from or what's holding it there, that's a slap in the face. Or if you just go to the source and forget what emanated from the source, that's a slap in the face. There's a song by a worship artist that I listen to from time to time. It says, "You are more real than the ground I'm standing on. You are more real than the breath inside my lungs. You are closer than the skin on my bones. You are closer than the song on my tongue." This is what I'm pointing to. The ground you're standing on, the painting, this body, your breath, is real. If you treat it like it's not real, that has grave consequences. There's a pretty amazing documentary called A Glitch in the Matrix that talks about a guy who watched the Matrix movie so many times and became convinced that this world was not real, and combined that with his abusive household and his depression and his mental illness and his bad relationship with his parents. And in order to try to make it go away, he ended up blowing both their heads off. And his description was, "When I blew their heads off, it was not like the movies. It was not like I expected it to be. It was real." But there's something more real than that. There's something more real than your deepest suffering. There's something more real than your most relative coming and going temporary happiness. And there's something closer, which means God, source, life, that which is. You don't have to go anywhere to find, but paradoxically, you have to go on a round trip to realize that you don't have to go anywhere to find. You don't have to give up the world. You don't have to give up God. But you have to go through phases of seeing the world without God, God without the world, and then both coming together. Especially now. Especially these days. Don't check out. Don't dissociate. There's a necessary process, while at the same time you're not over-attaching, over-identifying, over-associating. There is a journey to hold life preciously and to find beauty and terror. Wild and holy terror. Sacred. Moment to moment, breath by breath. But you will not have that experience of life, you will not have that experience of things if you don't go on a journey of disconnecting from them. Disconnecting without dissociating. Disidentifying without dissociating. Without unidentifying. Releasing attachment without detaching. Finding God, finding the source beyond it, and then to be given it back within it. Especially now, don't check out. Don't dissociate. This world is real. But illusion means not what it seems, not what you've been taught, not what you've always thought it was. There's something more real than that. And the most real is the simultaneous combination of both. Cannot have one without the other. But this is a process, this is a journey. It does not happen all at once. Thank you for watching. Welcome to my channel. This is my first among many public videos that I'm going to be making and also posting on other platforms as well. I would invite you to like and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, I probably won't be on there having dialogue with you. I'd like to do that elsewhere. But feel free to leave a comment about something you'd like for me to make a video on. Anything that you'd like my perspective, you'd like for me to reflect on in yoga, meditation, spirituality, religion, current events, health and wellness, healing arts, etc. I'm wanting to build this community and get the word out about what I do and what I teach. I would invite you to go to my website, kalianacenter.com, KALIANACENTER.com, and you can sign up for my email list, and you can also see the other courses that I have to offer. I have online courses that you can go at your own pace, as well as work with me one-on-one and or join us for groups and retreats. But I'm going to be building a video library, if you will. I already have lots and lots and lots and lots of videos that you can take advantage of if you join me on that journey. But these public ones will be short and sweet, simple reflections of what I think about, what I care about, what I know in certain topics that's either on my heart, that matter for our world today, or something that you've requested. I think it's important especially now. Thank you. Namaste.